What's up, roller family, and welcome to RollerLife. Today on the tutorials, we're gonna talk about how to travel with skates, whether it's on car, on train, on plane, on bus, international, national, or intergalactical. Yes, I'm future-proofing this video. So without further ado, skaters up, let's roll. I believe that traveling is one of the most beautiful things to do in this life, and what could be more perfect than bringing your skates along for the journey? That way you get to know the city in a whole different way and meet groups of people with your same passion. And that is exactly what we do with our series called RollerWorld, that if you have not seen it yet, I'll leave a link down here in the description or up here in the tag. And although there's not much talking going on those videos, whatever is talked, yes, it is in Spanish. It does have subtitles and they're soon to be dubbed, so yay! We've skated on mountains, beaches, meadows, fields, we even skated on the rainforest. Yeah, no, not that rainforest. So, if you're up for chilling and seeing some cool skate videos around the world, there you go. Getting back to the topic of the video, traveling with skates, it's not always as easy as it seems, or as comfortable. Of course, it would be worse traveling with a bike, but still, with skates, there are certain limitations. And the first limitation point, of course, is what are you traveling in? Whether it's a bus, a train, a plane, or a car. As you might suspect, usually the biggest problem tends to be when traveling by plane. How many bags can you check? What's the weight of each bag? Should you check them or should you carry them on? If you put them on the cargo bay, will they be cold? Will they miss me? What? You don't think about that? Yes, they're very common questions, and in this video, we're gonna see all the available options. Let's start off with the basics. If you're traveling by car, usually there's lots of space, so you could just toss your skates in there and forget about the problem. Unless you're traveling on a smart car, which, yeah, not very smart. In my case, I like to travel with two pairs of skates. One is for street skating and the other is for aggressive skating, and that's a done deal. So now let's jump into a bit more complicated of a situation. If you're traveling by bus or train, usually there's not a weight limit within reason, and usually you could check up to 2 bags, so my recommendation would be to put them on the main luggage. I will be giving some tips on how to pack your skates and save a lot of space in the bag, just like a skating Marie Kondo.
Hello.
Technically, you could take them with you on one of those backpacks that are made for carrying skates, but honestly, they're really uncomfortable and they don't tend to fit very well on the overhead bin compartment. Which if they don't fit up there, you have to take them down where your feet are, and that is just as unpractical as having to travel with the skates on. And now let's get to the most complicated choice of travel, which are airplanes. Obviously, it depends on the airline and the ticket you've purchased. Some of them include some baggage and others just charge you for your childhood traumas. You see what I did there? Baggage. And that is why we're gonna focus only on the baggage that is existent and allowed. First, let's talk about the big luggage, the one that is going to be checked and shipped to the cargo bay. Depending if the flight is domestic or international, usually the weight limits go between 15 kilos and 23 kilos, which is about this amount in pounds. Then we have the carry-on, which is sort of like a baby suitcase or a bag. It should not exceed these measurements and it should not weigh more than 10 kilos or 12 depending the airlines. And I say that it should weigh that because usually, no one really checks that. Wink wink. I'm the worst at winking. Keep in mind that that's gonna go on the overhead compartment, so in a strong turbulence or landing, if it's very heavy, it could open and fall. Perfect for sitting someone you're not very fond of. Sure, you can have the aisle seat. And finally, a personal item or hand luggage, which, yeah, it's usually a backpack or a briefcase, or a fanny pack, if you're into that thing. Keep in mind that this last one, you might have to store it underneath the seat in front of you, which if it's big, it's gonna be a very uncomfortable flight. So with all of this knowledge, where do we put the skates? If you're traveling with the big suitcase, just put them in there, check the bags, and forget about the problem. It is way better to travel light and comfortable. On very rare occasions, the baggage gets stolen or lost, and even if that happens, by law, the airline has to reimburse you. It's about $300 to $600. I'll leave the details around here and on the link below. On shorter flights, they usually let you take the carry-on and the backpack without having to pay extra. And here is where we have to analyze what's more convenient. If you have a lot of clothing and stuff, shove everything inside the carry-on and the skates will go to the backpack. Try to be the first one in your group section to get in the plane. That way you could put both things on the overhead compartments. Yes, what I'm about to say, it's not the most ethical, but no one really checks how many things you put up there. In the case there isn't much space and you have to choose whether you put one or the other, put the backpack on the overhead compartment and tell a crew member that there isn't any space for your carry-on. That way they're gonna take care of your carry-on and put it on an overhead compartment if there's any available, and if there isn't any, they're gonna send it to the baggage cargo area of the plane absolutely free of charge. Oh yes, very shady. And finally, regarding this, if you see that the airplane is jam-packed with people and everyone has a lot of carry-on baggage, do the opposite, meaning that it's best to put the skates on the carry-on and transfer some clothing to the backpack. That way, if the carry-on gets sent down to the baggage compartment, you won't have to carry around the weight of the skates. In summary, if you can, put the skates in the big suitcase and just check them. Forget about the problem. If not, put them inside the carry-on so they don't bother much, and if you get lucky, it might get sent to the airplane cargo bay. Just try not to carry them around the whole airport. They're heavy, they're uncomfortable, nobody cares, and you're bound to hit someone on your way in the airplane. Hi, I'm the editor. After filming this video and through the editing process, another skating YouTuber released a similar video to this one saying that he prefers to travel with his skates instead of checking them. Which is fine because this is absolutely personal preference. However, in this video he said that you could take them with you, and if you're short of time, you could skate from point A to point B of the airport without missing your flight. And that is extremely illegal in 99.9% of the airports, especially international big airports. They don't allow skating, skateboarding, bicycle, scootering. In fact, some airports don't even allow wheelchairs. They provide their own wheelchairs, and the one who pushes them is someone from the airline or from the airport crew. That way they reduce risk or liability issues. Security is not gonna run out and catch you. They don't need to do that. The airport is filled with cameras and they could just catch you when you stop or further down the line. So I never thought I'd be having to say this, but please don't skate in the airports. I know that the floors there are amazing, but by doing so, you could be risking a future ban on taking your skates inside your carry-on or your backpack. With that in mind, let's get back to the video. With that out of the way, we run into our second problem, and that is how do we fit them inside the suitcase comfortably? Once again, this will depend on how much stuff you're bringing inside of the suitcase, but if you're able to put your skates in there without having to take them apart, that would be amazing. Remember that inside the skates, you could put socks, underwear, and small clothing. Put the frames and wheels inside a plastic bag, not only to prevent the clothes from getting dirty, but also to prevent moisture and condensation from ruining the bearings. And finally, we have to play Tetris with our skates to find the most compact and convenient way according to our suitcase. Also try to avoid rigid or suitcases that are heavy by themselves. And the most important part of all is to like and subscribe if you're not already, especially if this video is being helpful to you. Alright, let's see what we can do with the carry-on. Here's where things start to get complicated because we're limited with the space and weight. So in this case, I do recommend taking out the frame. In order to do this, we take out the second and the last wheel, or the wheels that are on top of the screws for the frame. Once that is done, we find the screws that connect the frame to the skate and we take them out. After removing the frame, put back the wheels so they won't get lost, and find a very secure place to put the screws that came out from the frame. They're very easy to lose when traveling. The frames can be put one on each side of the suitcase, or if you're very close to the weight limit, you could put them inside your backpack. Usually the frames with the wheels tend to be the heaviest part of the skate. Of course, I did not forget about all of those who like to do more than one discipline of skating, and let me tell you, for all of you, we are screwed. Yeah, technically, you could take more than one pair of skates, but you're gonna be the whole vacation with very little clean clothes. So in this case, what I tend to do is to bring a pair of skates that allows me to change its frames. In my case, what I tend to do is bring my aggressive skates and just swap the frame for the 3x110, 4x80 millimeters, or of course the aggressive skate frame. Side note, the frames that are 3x110, 3x125, 4x90, or 4x100, or any big wheel frame, they are the worst to travel with. They are extremely heavy and they also tend to be big. I know that each occasion is different, and with this video I want to cover as much as I can so that when you travel with skates, it's a fun experience and not a headache. With regards of custom and taking skates across the borders, usually there's no problem. They're not looking for skates, especially if they're used, but do keep in mind to keep them clean without any kind of dirt, because it might upset the people from environmental and they might clean your skates. No, really, I've seen them clean shoes with mud. And finally, the most important part is that before traveling, make sure that there are groups for skating, skate parks, streets in good condition, or that it's even possible to skate where you're going. Yeah, you don't want to get to a place and realize there's nowhere to skate, or that skating in that place is extremely dangerous, like it happened to us in IGUAZÚ. And to know exactly what you need to keep in mind before and during the trip with skates, I'll leave you the video right here and here the season for IGUAZÚ. If you like this video, let me know with a like. If you're not already, don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell icon to get notified when we upload future videos. If you want to contact me, you can do it down here on the comments or through our social media and official website. Thank you very much. We'll see you on the next video. We'll see you in line.